Welcome back to the Business Exchange, the show where we dive into the ideas, people, and innovations shaping industry and redefining the future. I'm your host, Joseph. Today I'm joined by James Kerr, founder and CEO of Boss Security Screens, a company that's redefining home and commercial security. Boss Security Screens looks like ordinary bug screens, but they're stronger than bars. Custom built, made in the USA, and independently tested to stop break-ins before they happen, guaranteed. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, perfect, good. So, what originally led you into the security space, and what problem did you see that traditional doors and bars weren't solving?
My arc is kind of here and there and everywhere. And when you stop and look back at where you came from, you can see, the path, right? But when you're in the midst of it, you don't really, know where you're going, right? So prior to this business, I had an IT firm. Actually, prior to that, I had a chain of martial arts school. So in the martial arts school, we're keeping evil at bay, right? We're really, how do we keep ourselves safe physically? And then in the IT world, it was all about doing the same thing digitally. How do we keep ourselves safe, right? And so at one point, fast forward another decade or so, right? My wife says to me, I don't feel safe when you're away, when you're gone on business. And I offered to get her the gun, right? Do you want to shoot anyone? The dog, right? You don't want the dog to get injured. And so there aren't many options, when you stop and think about it, there aren't many options to keep the bad guys out. You could get the alarms, but that's not going to stop anyone. You could get cameras, that'll just tell you when someone is breaking in. You could get those bars, but they look ugly. You could get rolling shutters, the things that storefronts have, and they come down, they lock up, but they're only effective when they're down, not when they're up,
Yeah.
not when you want to get some sunlight, not when you want to get some fresh air.
Yeah.
So if you stop and think, like, A, I want to keep all the bad stuff out. It's kind of game over once someone's in the home or the school or the office. B, I want it to look great on the home. Bars will keep the bad guys out, but they look ugly, right? And you don't want to
Yeah.
feel like a caged animal. And C, you want to be able to enjoy all that view that you have looking out, the fresh air and the sunlight coming in. And so this is what I call Generation 3. It's not bars, it's not rolling shutters, it's Gen 3. It looks like an ordinary screen. I borrowed the mesh from the oil industry. You can't cut it with a knife. I know it's hard to tell. We make all these videos, my background's mechanical engineering. I've done the testing in the lab to collect very specific data points. But I've also, like, give me the crowbar, the shotgun, whatever. Let's see what I can do in person, right? Let me see if I can muscle my way in. But it works.
Yeah.
It looks great on the home. It keeps the bugs out, keeps the thugs out, keeps the pets in, keeps the kids in. And I'm now on over 17,000 installs over 8 years and zero break-ins. There have been a few attempts, but none successful. In fact, we guarantee it'll stop the break-in before it happens. And here's why. Anyone can get through anything with enough time, tools, energy, willingness to make noise,
Yeah.
whatever, right? Fort Knox, you can breach it for sure. It's going to take a lot of skill and energy and tools, but you can do it. It's possible.
Yeah.
Bad guys are smart, but they're not stupid. They're not going to, as soon as they realize that this house is not easy, they're on to the next house down the street that doesn't
Yeah.
have any protection, right? And that's
Yeah.
how this thing works, right? It's just not worth the fuss, right? It's just too
Yes.
hard to get in.
Good. Good. So when people hear security, they often think after the fact response. You focus on prevention. What's the distinguish? Sorry. What? Why does that distinction matter?
You pay more retroactively than proactively. Look, it's the same thing with your health, right? If we're proactive about our health, we're going to spend less mitigating those health issues down the road. If we're more mindful of our financial situation, retirement, we're going to be more comfortable down the road. It's like hopping in a car. I don't expect to get in a car accident, but I still put that seatbelt on. I'm being
Yeah,
proactive. I'm being
yeah,
sensible. You always, there's an expression like penny prevention, pound cure, whatever. I don't know what it is,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but it basically says, look, if you just be proactive about it now, sensible, it's going to cost you less than being reactive. And I would
yeah,
say about 20% of our clients are responding to something that just happened, either the neighbor or themselves have been victimized. The other 80% are being smart about it, right? They're thinking,
yeah.
well, I don't have to get crazy about security, but I definitely don't want to be complacent about it. Where's that middle ground there where I can take some action and feel more comfortable about keeping me and my family safe?
Yeah, exactly. Good. So, how has been made in the USA shaped your brand quality, control, and customer trust?
I think at the end of the day, most people want to buy from where they are. So
Yeah.
if I'm in a small town, all things being equal, they prefer to buy from another vendor or provider in the small town. Same applies on a countrywide level. I think we all prefer to keep American jobs humming along. We all would like to see more manufacturing in the United States. So we definitely leverage that. I can get things done cheaper out of China, Mexico, Taiwan, Thailand. But we decided from the get-go, especially for residential clients, the home is their castle.
Yeah.
And it has to be perfect. It has to look great and it has to perform great. And for residential clients, that means being made in the USA every step of the way. And what's interesting with the tariffs is we're, I wouldn't say we're like 110% immune from it, because you see kind of like a long tail of impact, like freight, for example. If there's less freight moving across the country, we're not procuring materials from overseas, we're not manufacturing overseas, but that freight cost is going to increase now because in the United States, because there's less freight going on and people are going to charge more for moving what you need to
Right.
move. So we're not directly affected by the tariffs. And so that's been a competitive advantage for us. So to answer your question, we in the United States prefer to buy in the United States from United States manufacturers whenever possible, because
Right.
we feel more confident and comfortable that we're going to get the quality and service that we need and deserve, right?
Right. Right.
I was going to say, this really applies to any country. So let's say, for example, I'm
Yeah.
in France, right? Or in Canada, right? It's just natural for people to want to buy from their community whenever they can, right?
Yeah.
If Amazon weren't so damn efficient at what they do, we would always buy from the local grocer, the local hardware store, the local,
Yeah.
retail
Yeah.
store, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not immune to the pressures that I feel from all angles, but surely it's one of our differentiations, one of our differentiating points in our business model.
Gotcha. So, why do law enforcement professionals recommend your product, and what do they understand about break ins that most homeowners don't?
Law enforcement, just like we, not to their extent, but we see all the stories all the time. It's the latchkey kid who's hiding under the bed as two people are ransacking the home. After school, middle of the afternoon, people in the home ransacking. Another person, retiree, saves up all his money to buy his dream home, moves to Las Vegas, and within 2 weeks, someone at night is tiptoeing to his bedstand and pulling his wallet. He just feels really violated. Or the woman who wakes up with someone on top of her, right, raping her. So this kind of stuff happens all the time. If you look at the probability of it, if I look at my situation, I'm just an average guy with an average family, an average neighborhood. The likelihood of this kind of severe thing happening is small. But when it comes to security, everything's fine until one day it's not, right? So law enforcement gets it for two primary reasons. One, they see it all the time, so they realize, hey, let's be in that proactive phase, not the reactive phase. So let's
Yeah.
do something before it becomes a problem or a tragedy.
Yeah.
And also because, in general, they get the overall principle, which is layered security, right? Layered security is smart security. If you
Yes.
look at like any major installation, let's say a military base, they already have all the guns that they need in the world to protect themselves, but they still have a gate, they still have a wall, they
Yeah.
still have barbed wire, they still have dogs, they still have camera, so that they create, and we always want to do this, which is create this layered cake of security because we just need one thing to stop the threat.
Yeah.
We don't have a magic bullet where we know if we just do this, it'll stop all things. What we do find is that if we create this layered security, it might not be the first layer or the second layer, but it'd be the third layer that actually gets the job done. So whichever
Yes.
works is what we applaud, right? And so
Yes.
law enforcement gets that for sure. And, the big buyers, so I've been in business now for 8 years, and invariably, a homeowner decides to sell the home, and they sell it with the screens on there. And the easy, quickest sale is you market the home to either active or retired military or active or retired law enforcement because they get it. They
Yeah.
get the idea, right? And for them, the protection is rolled into the mortgage. They don't have to make this initial outlay of money. It's
Yeah.
just a couple dollars a month for, the term of the mortgage. So, yeah, it's a win-win. Someone asked me like, well, what is it that you sell? The prima facie, the easy answer is, well, we sell security. But what we really sell is peace of mind,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you hear, you know, we men are kind of machismo, we're kind of like, bring it on, right? I'm going to defend my home. And that's great. But a lot of people in the world have been the victim of a long string of abuse. And they feel much more vulnerable. So take my mom, for example. She's 83, 6 years old, I don't know. She's not going to defend herself.
No. No.
And yet she has the same need for security as
Yes.
any ordinary person, right? But what is she going to do, right? She's not going to pull a gun. She doesn't have a gun. So, or, empty nester or single parent family or new family with young kids, or you can just start to imagine these scenarios where, I just don't want to even go there. I don't even want to be in that situation. And we Americans, unfortunately, have this Hollywood perception of, bring it on. I'm going to introduce you to my two little friends, Smith and Wesson, right?
Yeah,
We just
yeah.
have this really unrealistic idea that we're going to just gunsling it out, And the reality is, it don't work that way, right? If you bump into someone, right now, if I go outside this office, I bump into someone in my hallway, I don't have a weapon on me.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I'm going to tell the person, hang on for a moment, I need to run back to my gun safe. So let's just say he or them, they, right, say, yeah, we'll give you a minute, go back to your gun safe. I run back to my gun safe, now I'm super stressed, right?
Yeah.
I've got strangers
Yeah.
in the house. Maybe my family's upstairs. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, God, what is the code to the gun safe, right? And you're just like, what is it? And now you've exhausted your 3 attempts and it closes out, for 5 minutes. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So the only people, I meet the people with the guns, right? And I've got plenty, all Americans do. And some homes have them placed strategically around the home. We have kids, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people actually have the weapon on their hip at all time. But I ask them, like, well, what are you going to do? You fall asleep on the couch. Where's your weapon? Or you hop in
Yeah.
the shower. is your weapon going to be with you in the shower?
Yeah.
So most people, when they stop and think about it, they realize, having a weapon is a good kind of last resort idea if we even have to go
Yes.
there. But why even go there if I can just
Yeah.
stop from the get-go?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, what's been more challenging, scaling manufacturing or scaling sales and education?
Most people have no idea what security screens are, so it requires a bunch of advertising to get the eyeballs and to lead them through that funnel, right? And with PPC, pay-per-click advertising, we can do that very well. We get a 10x return on what's called ROAS, return on advertising spend, right? So if we spend $10,000, we'll sell $100,000. So I think this thing that we do, selling peace of mind, resonates really well in very emotionally charged places like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and AdWords, right? Google. That said, the challenge, of course, is scaling on the production side. So we can sell it faster than we can make it, and that's good news. And we can sell it faster than we can make it, which is the bad news. So
Yeah. Yeah.
in the product or solutions that we're offering now, we have X number of parts in there, right? And everything's down to the eighth of an inch. Everything is custom. We use what's called extruded aluminum to give a nice finish to rounded edges, and so it doesn't scale well. It's all done by hand. We're looking into robotics. We're looking into automation. There's certainly certain things we can do to speed up things, like how the mesh is fastened to the frame.
Right.
That can be done by a robotic arm. So there are opportunities there, including, the more parts you have in a system, in general, the more expensive it's going to be. And in general, the more time consuming it is to produce, right? So
Right.
the answer for us, as we continually evolve, which is imperative, right? The first iteration, we're now on a second generation or second model. We need to continually innovate, and I think there's some opportunities for simpler design, fewer parts, faster manufacturing.
Right. Right.
Less pathology.
So, yes. So, here, just a sec. Have partnerships played a role in growth? Builders, remodelers, or municipalities?
Our DNA from the start was B2C. So our long-term opportunity, midterm opportunity is B2B or to government. So we definitely want to, and it's definitely wise to, dovetail on other networks. So what I mean is, if you and I meet for the first time, I'm offering the solution just to you. If you and I meet along with a room full of people, now I'm offering it 100 times, right, at the same time,
Right.
to 100 different people. And so by partnering with contractors, builders, we're now able to get much more reach through that one node of interaction. And so it's just a no-brainer for us to do more of that. And I think it's welcomed by, in the case of builders, right, manufacturing homes, whatever, the buyers of those homes appreciate, again, the ability to put the security as a line item option in their overall purchase.
Yes.
Because then it gets financed over the 30 years. It's not painful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we definitely want to do more of that. And if anyone here is listening, contact me. I'm all ears. You'll get me.
Yeah. No, for sure. I see it as a great product for especially, the high-end builds where,
Yeah.
like you said, it's an item listed for options, just like, I want a central vac or I want this or that. And how about the security? Yeah, add that in there. Let's get it, and get it built.
Yeah, and the best solution in general is one where a third party pays for it. So
Yeah.
let's say, for example, McDonald's wanted to be sure that everyone had a safe and happy home. Well, that would be awesome because everyone wants what we have, but there's a challenge. How do I afford it? McDonald's says, "Hey, no worries, I got you," right? And so we make it. That person buys it and McDonald's pays for it, right? This is the perfect model. And so you see this in government, and for example, Section 8 housing in the United States is where the government will subsidize housing for impoverished families. And usually, or typically, there's issues with break-ins in these neighborhoods, right? In these apartment complexes. So yes, the high-end homes for sure need it, welcome it, can write the check for it. Also, the lower-end residential complexes, including apartments, many times the government will say, I need 100 of these doors for this HUD project. And this is the kind of work that we do. So,
Right. Excellent. Good. What's the biggest operational bottleneck you deal with today?
the challenge is this, the work that I'm in is very hands-on. There are some business models, where you take one invoice, you put it over here, and you take another invoice and you put it over here, and you're kind of in the middle there between the two. You're just swapping the invoices. I think if I could find a way to do that, that would be outstanding. The other is, the other problem with our industry is it's one and done. So once I secure a building, unless I come up with some other product or service or whatever, we're done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like solar. You get the solar on the house, you move on to the next door
Yeah.
neighbor's house, right? I appreciate the models that have regular and ongoing residual income, and usually they have the tallest buildings in the cities, right? So banking, insurance, right? Or a lot of these online solutions, it's a subscription model. I wish there were a way for us to have more of this swapping invoicing and more of this subscription type revenue stream. But the
Right.
reality is we're in construction and we're in
Yeah.
home remodeling and we're in, B2B construction, security. And so it's very hands-on. It's very elbow to elbow. We're a very data intensive company, probably more than the usual bear. We drill into KPIs and analytics on a daily basis. So we're unlike the usual construction company, right?
Right.
We live through a browser, right? And this is really the core, very software driven. That said, if you're missing a screw, you're not going to get the install done, right? If you're
Right.
missing caulk, you're not going to get the install done, right? So you have this enormous engine of complexity, a lot of moving pieces, each need to be aligned and available, and it all has to come together. So operationally, it's a very strong, what I call integrator. So
Right.
you might be familiar with this book called Rocket Fuel, which is worth a read for an entrepreneur. Basically, you have this visionary, right? This visionary is the one who's the dreamer, has all the ideas, a gazillion of them, like a Steve Jobs, right? And then you have the person that makes the dream work. So there was Walt Disney. He was the dreamer, big ideas, take that mountain. But without his brother, Roy, whom we never hear about, right?
Yes.
He's instrumental. You see it all the time. Ray Kroc and I don't know, some other guy named Cousin, whatever. Apple for sure, Microsoft. Any major, to get beyond, to get to the next level, you have to have this symbiotic relationship between the visionary and the integrator, for lack of a better word. And that's the person that has full reins on the operational side of things, makes all the trains run on time. Without that, right, you ain't going to go anywhere as a company, right? You're going to keep failing. And so they say, like, the thing that makes you successful is the thing that destroys you, right? So if you're just that entrepreneur, with just that idea today and another one tomorrow and a third one on the third day, and you don't have
Yeah.
anyone to make all that mud stick, you're just going to keep bumping into the thing that got you going, and
Yeah.
now it's getting in the way, right?
Yeah.
So operationally for us, it's the realization that I should do what I'm good at and stay out of everything else, stay the hell out of it, right? And
Yeah.
at the same time, find someone who is good at that
Yes.
thing, the day-to-day operational thing, consider them an equal, let
Yeah.
them have veto power, when things meet deadlocked. Their job is to make the dream come alive. You need both. So I'm the pilot, and the other one is the mechanic for the airplane.
Yes.
Right? I don't
Yeah.
fix the airplane. That mechanic fixes the airplane, and the
Yeah.
mechanic
Yeah.
doesn't fly the aircraft, right? So
Yeah.
I think for us, that's the thing. We exploded real quickly. So first year was maybe 300 grand, and it was just me doing everything, answering the phone, selling, measuring, installing. And then the second year is 1 million, and then third year is 3 million, and then we rapidly went to 8 million. And every time you triple in size, you got to nuke the organization because the old organization doesn't support the
Right. Yeah.
business size that you're at. So you can imagine nuke, 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 and success is usually failure, 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 and then you get to success, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, operationally, I think the biggest nugget is how do we focus on what we do best and stay out of these other areas. Let them do what they do best. They'll stay out of your area, and together
Yes.
we're stronger than the sum of our parts. So if you take two horses and the horses work in tandem, you get the power of three horses, right? Even though you have only two, but because of the synergy, they're able to produce more horsepower, no pun intended. But that's the same thing in business. And you can
Yeah.
see almost every business has that challenge. And it isn't until they solve that they really take off.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a business owner and a leader, what keeps you up at night?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of things. And I try not to. 1,000 years from now, no one's going to give a hoot about boss security screens, right? Really.
Yeah.
And I think it's really easy to live in this world in my head where things matter more than they actually do. Like everything matters, but not very much is the reality. But in my mind, and I know a lot of business owners like you resonate with this, understand exactly what I'm saying is we worry too much about a lot of things like what
Yeah.
if, why didn't I do this? Or what if that doesn't work? Or it's going to fail, right? I think at the end of the day, we just have to let that stuff go and know that we're going to handle it. One way or the other, we're going to handle it as we always done, all right?
Yes.
Lose a key person, lose a key account. Yikes, payroll's coming up. Where am I going to get the cash, right? So we all share the same struggles.
Yes.
And we have to use whatever tactics we can to kind of keep our mind clean. I don't know what a technical term is for that, but there's a lot of garbage that can creep into your mind in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., right?
Yeah.
And you're just not doing yourself a service. And I
Yeah.
can't say that, I have this down, that I've figured it all out and I don't have that problem. I definitely do. But again, 1,000 years from now, no one's going to care about me or boss
No.
security screens or whatever we're doing today, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's how many times the what ifs never even happen.
That's right. We
You're worrying
worry
and
about all the stuff
going
that-
on, and then, oh, the customer never said that. Oh, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's maybe a defect, in the way our minds work as humans, but we always
Yeah.
seem to live in the future or the past right?
Yeah.
We're worried about the future, or we're worried about what happened in the past, but we're never like, all right, I should just sleep now.
Yeah. Exactly. So, where do you see AI adding real value in customer education, quoting, demand, forecasting, or threat analysis?
We use AI in almost every sphere of our operation right now, and some of it was already prepackaged by another company. We explored, for example, automated AI-driven replies to leads using a tool called WooSender. We're not affiliated with them. I really loved the tool, the premise of the tool. It would dive into calendars and marry up a particular lead with the right sales rep, and that's genius. We've since kind of migrated to another one called Hatch, Get Hatch or Hatch.io or something. And it's a little dumber version of WooSender because we found that we couldn't make that one WooSender version work well for our particular business model. Other business models, different situation, but we've got some quirky things like a very specific type of lead has to go to a very specific person on our team. And Hatch is a little more monitored and driven by humans. So we have a team of humans that work in tandem with Hatch. We use AI for the front end side of stuff like sales copy, the market analysis that you mentioned. You get a lot of bang out of Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok. And many times we gotta like run it through different platforms and just see what kinds of answers we're getting. We can dump financials into some of these platforms and get answers that we used to have to pay someone lots of money. Like if you go get a medical exam right now and you get that information, you dump it into one of these platforms, you don't have to see a doctor. If you at some point you do, right? And you should. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is same thing with legal. Or same thing with, getting a COO. What time we thought we'd get a part-time CFO, right? Well, now AI is our part-time CFO.
Yeah.
And now AI is our COO's best friend, right? And so we use it almost every single pocket of our business, with the exception of install.
Yeah, of course.
So, they say like, we already alluded to it now, that AI is replacing doctors, AI is replacing lawyers, not all of them, but it's replacing the core of their work. It's replacing the core of legal work. It's replacing the core of the CFO's work, right? Core of the COO's work, right? So we're beginning to see the marketer ad copy is beginning to replace these core areas. But the one thing it's not replacing is the guy with the wrench or the drill, right? So
Yeah.
we don't see that yet, not until we have robots. All this blue collar work is really, it's golden, right? So
Yeah, sure is.
someone quipped the other day, what should I tell my kid? They were asking an AI expert, with all these changes and all this disruption, what should I tell my kid? He's graduating from school. And without blinking, the guy said, learn how to fix HVAC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're still going to pay for that. You can't replace that anytime soon.
No, no. There was a post on LinkedIn that Ford Motor Company across America had, I don't know how many thousands of mechanic jobs available, and they couldn't fill them, and they were paying over 100K.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not to be, I think there was a period where people were dismissive of these jobs because maybe they didn't pay as well as the software coder. But we're seeing the software guys being replaced by AI too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see that whole thing inverted, where now the money is in, the person swinging the wrench.
Yes. And yes, AI is out there. It is going to replace, but it does a lot of enhancing of people's positions in companies too, like yourself. That's why you've you're using it to enhance the company. No different than maybe an HVAC or a plumber. He can use the AI to find more customers or something, to that effect where, you
That's
know,
that's true. Like the final mile might be hands-on, blue collar, wrench swinging work, but everything that supports it is
yeah,
for sure AI intensive to, depending on the area, but increasingly AI driven. And frankly, if you're not using AI in your business, you should and need to spend more time with it. And
yeah,
because at some point, it's like, remember when we really didn't have an internet, right? And so the internet started to become a thing, and there were all these late adopters. They were running their business the way we've always ran our business, right? We don't
yeah,
need internet, dial-up. And so they were slow to adopt this tool called the internet. And as a result, they, suffered because of it for sure, right? So to be competitive, and regardless of whatever space you are, you need to
yeah,
play with these things. It's just part of your
yeah,
job as an entrepreneur, right? Or
yeah,
as a business manager to just play with it and see like, how could I use this if I wanted to, right? And
yes,
you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's not going to do everything, and it's okay if it doesn't do everything. But you need a new employee handbook. Boom, it's done. I mean,
yeah,
literally, it's done in
yeah,
5 minutes. Used to take 5 weeks, right? And $5,000, right, to pay someone
yeah,
to do that. And you just don't need to do that anymore. You need a
yes,
new legal agreement. Boom, it's done.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got a legal
And
agreement from someone, and you're like me, can't read all that stuff. All right, upload the agreement. Tell me, what am I looking at? Where are the
yes,
sticky parts, right? And AI will give
yeah,
you
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the
Oh, for sure. And if you're not using it, you can bet your competition's going to be using it to try to get
absolutely.
ahead.
Yep.
So, what excites you most about the next 5 years in physical security innovation?
It's our product is a bespoke product. It's custom made by hand, as I mentioned, down to the eighth of an inch. We can do any color powder coat. We can do any size. We can do any shape. We've done octagon shapes. We've done purple doors for Sedona. We've done patio enclosures for cats. Like a catio. So you have a high value cat. You want the cat to go outside, but you don't want the coyote. You don't want the cat to run away. You don't want the coyotes to eat it, or
Yeah,
whatever. So it's really interesting, all these use cases, but it's very expensive. And yet, there are all these people, some of these homes that I've gone into, uh, they are poor and they do need the same level of security, if not more.
yeah,
And they need it most but can afford it least. And so, what excites me is I like to call it the screen for the people, right? So, kind of like the VW was the car for the people, right? That was the inspiration
yes,
for the VW Bug a gazillion years ago. A simple car for the person on a simple budget, right? And so we need a screen for the people, a screen that can be easily installed and was within the budget, of the 80% of the people who currently have a tough time affording what we're offering. So
right.
that's what excites me, to be able to give uh, everyone this level of security. Because in the end, everyone deserves a safe and happy home, right?
Yeah, you got that right.
That's
Yeah,
just everyone. I've traveled all over the world. Everyone is the same. We're all humans. I'm not going to get woo-woo on you, but we all have the same. Um, we want the best for our families. We want
yeah,
our kids to have realize their potential. We want to live a good life. We want our families to have a good life. We're all the same in this way, right? So,
right.
um, yeah, everyone kind of deserves to get the same. And so that's my challenge is how do I do what I do and make it more accessible to more people. And I'm working on it. I have some ideas.
Good, 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 good. So, what advice would you give entrepreneurs building products where trust and safety are non-negotiable?
Where trust and safety are non-negotiable. You know, first of all, entrepreneurship is pretty simple to me. You just need to give enough people what they want, right? And then you can have anything you want. So
Yeah, exactly.
we're just here. Of course, we want to change the world, but the only way we're going to change the world is if we fill a need. I mean, really
Yes.
fill it. And
Yeah.
we do it in a way where people not just say that they want it, but people actually buy it. There's a difference. Oh yeah, I want
Right.
it, I want it, I want it, but I'm not going to buy it. And we need to change the world by filling the need, giving enough people what they want, and at in a way that they will actually purchase it. Now, that said, um, there's nothing easy, in this endeavor. And, as I mentioned, it's rife with failure. And it's really easy to make the wrong turn, meaning um, if it ain't right, it ain't right.
Right.
So you can make an awful lot of money running guns, selling drugs, lying and cheating, stealing. But if you can't stand up, in front of your community or your Rotarian group or your church or whatever and say, this is what I do, then something's wrong, right? So
Yeah.
in our industry, it's very easy to cut corners and no one will know because they don't know. Like I
Yeah.
could use a cheaper grade mesh. I can get it out of China. I can put fewer screws when I fasten that mesh to the frame. It's not going to be as strong.
Yeah.
When I take this screen and I put it on the building, it has to go into the subframe of that building to give us the securities. So I could have a really strong screen, really poor install.
Yeah.
You got to get screws in every 8 inches around the perimeter of that window, that door, the slider, whatever it is you're securing. But the installer can skip that step because time is money, hustle out of there.
Yes.
But it ain't right. Right. So I would say, for the entrepreneur, and you're going to be pulled in these directions at some point, that hold tight to the things that are important to you. Don't sell out. At the end, you want to be able to go to bed and feel good about the work you do, and you want your team to feel the same about that. And it's okay to be a smaller company, a righteous smaller company than a bigger, I don't know what the opposite of righteous is, but compromising
Yeah.
company, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, we see this happen. So there's I think it was out of Maine or Vermont or something, there was a guy named Bert, and he used to raise bees, and he was real kind of folksy Bert bees, and he started selling Bert wax or whatever. And he was that guy with the dream and the ethics along with it. And then eventually, private equity takes over and they turn it into a dump, right?
Yeah.
And then the same with Ben and Jerry's ice cream. There used to be two guys with lots of idealism, like they're hippies, right? I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
They believe in something, right? They're just going to stay close to their values, right? And then they too acquired by private equity, and now it's wasteland.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the business is making money, but I don't think they have the magic there like they used to have. Like Apple's
Yeah.
another good example. Used to have magic. Like when they would introduce a product, people would line up for days, right, to be able to be the
Yes.
first to see it in this invitation-only place, right? So don't lose your magic. Don't sell your magic. It's okay to be um, small and great rather than big and, I don't know,
Yes.
rich. So
Yeah.
in summary, I think I said, look, it ain't going to be easy. Just focus on giving people what they want. And know that you're in this to do good, right? And be good, and don't sell out, right? And if you can
Exactly.
just keep marching along like that, and you know you're going to have ups and downs and all arounds. Sometimes business feels like one step forward, two steps backwards. Right? And this is not my first business, and they're all
Yeah.
the same in that way. That you're not sure sometimes you're going to make it.
Yeah.
But you got to maintain the conviction, right? And you got to take action, right? Action and conviction is the thing that gets you out of every single situation. Could be a car
Yeah.
wreck on the side of the road, could be a health issue at home, right? Could be a relationship problem, could be business. Action and conviction, right, is what's going to get you out of that situation. You got to move your feet, and you got to stay close to what's important to you, and you always come out on top.
Yeah, excellent. That's great advice. Thank you very much. Well, James, this has been a powerful conversation. I love how Boss Security Screens focuses on prevention, not reaction, protecting people without turning homes into fortresses. So for everyone listening, if you want to learn more about Boss Security Screens and how they're redefining physical security, we'll all have the links on the show notes. James, thanks again for joining the Business Exchange.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.